Hi, everyone. Good afternoon. I'm really excited to be here with you all today and talk a little bit about burnout prevention and wellness in real estate. I think it's a really good way to start the year. So I am excited to help you kick off 2024 with some positivity towards ourselves, our businesses, and in the industry. So I'm just going to go through some information about me really quick. My name is Brittany Wrenn. I'm a real estate agent in the Chicagoland area, and I also am the founder of Beyond the Sale, which is a wellness and real estate, or it's a wellness and real estate company that provides resources, strategies, tools, and content to our industry so that you all can hopefully use some tips and tricks to elevate your business and prevent burnout. And if you happen to experience burnout, then you know where to go to access resources so that you can come out of burnout. So first, I really want to kind of break down burnout so that if you're not familiar with it, you don't really know what it is, or maybe why you're experiencing things the way you are, that you can recognize it and help then take steps to prevent it in the future. So burnout, in short, is exhaustion of physical or mental, emotional strength and motivation. And it's typically caused by prolonged stress. So if you have been experiencing just consistent and prolonged stress and your business is suffering because of it, or maybe you don't know why you're struggling in certain ways, you're just assuming you're stressed, it actually could be that next step and it could be burnout. So I like to go through really quickly how the life cycle of a realtor can affect your business, and if you're at a different phase or part of your career, how each stressor at each different phase of your business actually does affect your life and business differently. So obviously, if we have rookie agents, they're going to have different stressors than the veteran agents. And of course, some will overlap, but rookies, a lot of times they're trying to get their business off the ground. They have, low income or startup costs. They don't have a lot of business. They're maybe not, they're not sure how to structure their day. And then of course, mid-career agents are trying to maintain, maybe scale their business. They might find themselves with less personal time or being less present. And of course, veterans are thinking about retirement, not sure what to do with their business. Maybe they don't really know how to make steps up to leave the industry. They're potentially still the family breadwinner. So as you can see, this is just a very light overview of why each phase of your career requires some burnout prevention strategies and techniques, because it can happen at any time, and each level, while may get easier in some levels, the stress may change or increase at others. So just to give you an example here of the cycle of burnout in real estate and why it's so important to have burnout prevention strategies on hand, it's because our industry, as you all know, it's a hustle. It's kind of ever evolving and ever changing. We have ebbs and flows constantly throughout the year. And of course, a lot of our business is dictated by market conditions. So while we might have an outstanding year one year, the next year, things could change and be very different. So I found that the life cycle of burnout is really starting with the excitement when you're a rookie or when you're feeling good again. So you've got the excitement, the motivation, you've hit the ground running, you kind of maybe find yourself on autopilot. And then before you know it, you're feeling like you're stuck on a hamster wheel. You're just going, 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 and you don't really know how to stop or change things. So you just keep pushing through and keep going and trying to build your business or keep your business going until you maybe see that your life is starting to decline, and not just your life, but your business. And so you may be stuck in that phase for a while. You might be stuck in any of these phases, really. And if you're on the hamster wheel and you don't really know how to get off, and then the life decline kicks in and you're not really sure where to go from there, hopefully you get to the point where you seek help, whether that is through a family friend, a friend, a family member, a colleague, your managing broker, a therapist. It could be anyone in your life, but also hopefully Beyond the Sale will give you those tips, tricks, and resources so that you're like, oh yeah, I remember there is a place to go. So I know how to employ strategies to get myself out of this life decline and out of this hamster wheel so that I can get back to business. So once you've sought help, hopefully then you're employing those new strategies and you're eventually back to excitement and motivation. However, the reason it doesn't stop there is because we don't really talk about burnout prevention in real estate consistently. And in my mind, burnout prevention should be coupled with business planning. It is one and the same to me. I feel like every year when you create your business plan, you should be creating your burnout prevention plan. And if you're seeing your business plan evolve and change every quarter, which I advise, then I would also look at that burnout prevention plan every quarter and change it to your needs, because your needs will change throughout the year. And we'll get into that a little bit more as we go here, because I want to give you some examples of what you might be experiencing if you're feeling burnt out. And there's different areas you may feel burnt out in. A lot of us initially feel the burnout in the physical form first. So we might be exhausted or fatigued, and you might feel like you're slacking in your performance. Maybe you just don't even think about self-care, or you're just not really putting the time and effort in to do the things you used to do. You could be feeling it in your mental and emotional state where you're lacking the motivation, you're more irritable, and you're just kind of on edge all the time. You can't focus. And then of course the social and lifestyle, those could be some of the last things that you notice from yourself, but maybe you just are withdrawing from social settings. You don't really want to be around people. Your battery is drained, and you find yourself just kind of burying yourself in work because you don't really know what's going on. And I always preface this, I am not a mental health professional. I am not a therapist. I am someone who experienced burnout in this career in one of the biggest years I had in this industry. And I needed this at that time. And I've worked very hard over the past 5 years to put these resources together because I knew what it took to come out of that burnout and keep going. And we do have mental health resources and someone that I partner with when that area gets a little bit, out of my scope. But these are just suggestions and examples, and hopefully will be useful to you if you need to pinpoint what's going on for you. So some more specific examples of burnout are going to be you're sleeping too much or you're not sleeping enough. You are suffering from insomnia. You don't feel good ever, or maybe you find yourself just dreading work when you used to love it. You keep forgetting to maybe respond to texts or emails, or it's just slipping your mind and it just slips through the cracks and you can't believe that you missed that text or email. And you could be that you're snapping easily on people, or you're just in a state of kind of not feeling great all the time, right? So you're not really sure why you don't have that motivation and excitement and energy and all of those things to keep going. So there are steps to break through burnout, whether you're there now or whether you hit it at another time, or whether you've been there in the past. And to start those things, I always like to encourage people to think about their limiting beliefs, because I've come across all sorts of people in the industry, some which are very open to this topic and some which kind of scoff at it and think, I've been doing this forever. I don't need wellness in real estate. I don't need to worry about X, Y, and Z. But I can guarantee you at some point, people will experience some level of prolonged stress. And my goal here is just to have you have the resources you need if you happen to hit that. So limiting beliefs are going to be some of those more negative thought patterns. So it could be what I'm talking about, and that you don't really believe that you need to worry about burnout. But they can also be some other things that prevent you from really having a little bit more of a flow in your life and your business, because it's hard to say that we could have work-life balance when we know that we'll always kind of have a heavier attention or need on one side of the other of that. So could be work every now and then, and it could be life every now and then, but we can't have one or the other just consuming all of our energy. So other examples of limiting beliefs are going to be things like you feel like you constantly have to be available. Like if you don't answer that text message right away or that email, that that's a terrible business practice or whatever it might be. How about that you are playing into the hustle culture that our industry pretty much promotes all the time? And I've been in this industry for 12 years. I love being in this industry, but we do have a culture that makes us feel like we need to keep going, going, going all the time. So we get the next deal, make more money, sell more homes, all of that stuff. So these are just some examples. Maybe you're fearing that you're going to miss out on a client, you have some income instability. These are things that might be telling yourself that you cannot practice self-care regularly, or you cannot actually pour into yourself because of these reasons. So I challenge you to think about what your limiting beliefs are, what is holding you back from incorporating a burnout prevention plan into your business and self-care strategies into your business. And we're going to work through those. So then I would like for you to start with identifying your burnout triggers. So there are going to be things that make you feel burnt out quicker than other things. What triggers me to be more stressed may not trigger you, and vice versa. So some examples of this might be that you're not taking enough breaks in the day. You're just working through, you have your schedule, you're used to it. Well, what is that? What is that trigger going to be for you? Now, for me, if I don't take enough breaks in the day, I have a hard time falling asleep and staying asleep. My mind has a harder time shutting off when I'm just consistently working without any break from work. So the solution to that would be time blocking breaks into your schedule. And I know we talk a lot about time blocking in this industry. I find it to be very crucial. I always use time blocking for pretty much everything. And I find that it really helps me so that I remember, okay, let me wrap up what I'm doing, and then I can get back to work once I've taken a mental break and a physical break from constantly focusing on work. Of course, another example could be that you are dealing with a difficult client. This could be something that's triggering you each time you see that client and you don't even realize it. And that, of course, effect could be putting you in a bad mood. And that could spiral if you don't do something to stop it and just shift your focus. And of course, especially if you're dealing with a difficult client and then have to go on to another client. And in between that time, what do you do to shift your focus and your mood? I recommend using mindfulness techniques, breathing exercises. These things really will shift how you're feeling. And before you know it, if you use some of these smaller strategies, they're going to become a part of your regular routine and your regular business practices. So, of course, when we're building the burnout prevention plan, we like to focus on the key areas of self-care. So once you've thought about your limiting beliefs, once you've identified your burnout triggers, then you're going to start really building that burnout prevention plan. And that is where you'll take the areas of self-care and apply strategies that will work for you in your business so that you can then time block those things into your calendar and have a little bit better of a flow. So a burnout prevention plan is going to have these different areas, and it might look something like you have the physical aspects completely down. You are always on top of your physical health and you don't have to worry about that at all. That's fine. Still write it down. Write down the things that you do in each area and see where you could improve. Now, maybe you have everything only in physical health and you have nothing in mental or emotional. You're going to go through each of these areas of self-care, write down things you either do or would like to do and like to incorporate. And that is going to be the building of your burnout prevention plan. And it will also help you realize that if you're really heavy in one area, these are proven areas that we need to pour into in our lives so that we can have a little bit more of a balanced flow in our life and business, in our life in general, but we're applying this to our business. So what this could look like is your physical might be that you're going to cut down on caffeine or shut off electronics 30 minutes before bed. Maybe you need to incorporate exercising in your routine, or maybe just a simple walk or stretching. Your mental and emotional could be that you want to decompress after a long week in whatever way that looks like to you. Could be just sitting in silence. You want to set aside me time each day, even if it's just 5 minutes. Again, it could be 5 minutes of silence. It could be listening to your favorite song, or anything that helps you decompress a little bit on the daily phase, not just the weekly phase. So then you're also going to practice breathing exercises. This would be an example of someone's burnout prevention plan and the things that they want to incorporate. So of course, social, spending time with friends and families away from work, being in social settings that are not networking settings is very important. And then of course, the spiritual aspect, whatever that looks like for you, if it's going to be prayer, meditation, mindfulness, and relaxation techniques, it is going to be develop a daily routine. That's where time blocking would come in. And of course, potentially finding a creative outlet. So these are examples of what a burnout prevention plan might start to look like. And once you have these things in place, you can start time blocking them into your schedule and practicing them on a daily, weekly, monthly, quarterly basis. And of course, those strategies and those techniques will change as your business changes. So I'm going to give you some additional strategies that you can take away today and use to potentially start your year in a really positive mind frame and a better habitual way. First things first, write down your wellness needs. If you don't know what you need, you can't even start this burnout prevention plan. Another couple features I like to point out on our phones, because nowadays, obviously, we're on our phones a lot. There's a pin feature on your phone, and I've been told that they're both the iPhone and Android. So what I do in my messages is if I'm busy or with a client or in a meeting, or I'm simply with family and want to be present when I'm with them, I will pin the message. If it's not urgent, if it's not a dire need that I need to immediately answer to, I will pin the feature, or I'll use the pin feature on my phone, and the message in your text messages will stay at the top of your messages until you unpin it. So it's a reminder to you. It kind of at least gets that out of your head so you can remain being present in whatever you're doing, but is there for you when you're ready to revisit it and get back to work. Obviously, we all know nowadays there's a do not disturb feature on your phone. That allows you to not be interrupted when you're doing other things that you need to be present for. And I think it's a really good feature to utilize. I would also encourage you to establish strong business partners. That is a huge, huge thing when we're going through deals. So lenders, attorneys, inspectors, anyone that can, and those of you that have been in the industry a long time know, when you have strong business partners, that really feeds into how the deal goes, how you feel throughout the deal. Is it relieving stress from you, and helping the deal flow even better? So then, of course, set or reset expectations. If you've not set any expectations for your life and your business and how that's going to look flowing together, set those to start. And then if you already have, or you kind of have been operating in a way that has those expectations, revisit them and see if you can reset them or need to reset them into a different way. I would also encourage you to download an app like Calm or Abide, or any of those apps that are mindfulness and meditation, and just have these little short snippets of things you can do even in the car ride from showing to showing. It can just kind of reset your mood and your energy. Of course, time block with those calendar alerts so you know how to stay on a more consistent schedule. I would set a movement goal, even if it's, like I said, just walking or stretching. Building this burnout prevention plan is not to stress you out or add more to your calendar in your day. It's to get you in a better flow so that you feel energized to keep pouring into your business. I would encourage you to find an accountability partner, someone that maybe will build this burnout prevention plan with you. And then you guys can hold each other accountable to if you're staying consistent with that. Of course, like I said, identify your burnout triggers, acknowledge your limiting beliefs, and set screen time limits on your devices if you can. It will prompt you to put the phone down, to turn off the computer, and to give yourself a break, because we all know nowadays being in front of a screen in itself for long periods of time will drain your energy. So wrapping up really quick, and then if anyone has any questions, I'm happy to go over those. Just stay in tune with yourself, understand your needs, ask for help when you need it, even if you're not used to asking for help, and break through those limiting beliefs, identify those burnout triggers, lean on your support systems, practice self-care daily, even if it's something very simple and small, and then go ahead and develop your burnout prevention plan. So I just want to remind you that you are not alone. Burnout is very common in this industry. You don't have to feel ashamed for feeling exhausted, or even if you've thought about wanting to leave the industry and you don't know why. Everyone that I have ever spoken to when talking about this topic can relate in some way. So just stay on top of that self-care and utilize some of these tips throughout the year that I'm giving you today. I really hope they help. And in order to kind of give you that kickstart, this QR code will give you a sample from my burnout prevention plan workbook, and it's going to help you identify your burnout triggers. So that QR code will take you to the worksheet, and then hopefully that'll kick you off with a good wellness start to this year. And if you don't have any questions, I will also make sure that you guys have access to that QR code and the website so that you can get some more information. And hopefully this has been very helpful to you all in your 2024 year. I really appreciate you taking the time to be here with me today.